Hello, I am Jerry Isaya Bambi, welcoming you to this episode of Inspire Africa, where, as you can see, we are out in the sun again. Well, a big sign that life is gradually coming back to normal. On this episode, we hear stories of African animation from the Annecy Festival. And in Uganda, we hear just how a group of scientists is deploying drones to airlift medical supplies to HIV and AIDS patients. And later, I head back to the studio to speak with Isaya Yunge, the Tanzanian inventor who has just created a hands-free smart speaker for Africans. This is Inspire Africa. The Annecy Festival is considered one of the world's leading reference for animation film. This year, it dedicated its focus on African animation movies. We were there to hear just how that can be used to address serious issues on the continent. Let's take a look.
African animation films are increasingly making their way on the international scene. Annecy paid tribute to it this year with an African movie edition during the International Animation Film Festival in France. Room 5 was selected in the Perspectives category in the competition.
Room 5 tells the story of how patients are treated when they go to the hospital, especially in Ghana and Africa. We took this very important subject topic and we made it a little bit soft in the dark comedy form to tell a story about it.
Going forward, I think the realization of that aspect of animation, not just the entertainment aspect that we are all familiar with, that it has the ability to transform our mindset, is going to really sustain the industry.
There's still a long way to go to extend Africans' youth perspectives and help them consider a career in this field. The lack of training programs is an issue on the continent.
I would like to encourage these countries to continue to invest in film because it puts them in a place where they are not imagined. Their efforts must not be timid, they must be real, and that these countries are present at the challenge of digital, at the dawn of something important that's happening with the platforms. We must invest in training in relation to all of this, I think.
I want to find African talents in animation and make them emerge on the international scene, but I realized that there was a lack of training. For them to be competent and competitive on the international scene, they must be given the tools and the best ways to open training centers. The ambition in the long run is to create jobs and avoid the flight of talents because we have a beautiful continent. It would be good for them to stay and that they train within the continent and develop a real industry of animation and video games in Africa.
African Creative Talent will open its first school of animation and video games in Morocco in 2022. Pan-African internships will be offered to 40 selected students and they will be trained for 3 years.
Delivering medical supplies to some HIV and AIDS patients in some hard-to-reach areas across Lake Victoria in Uganda is a challenge. One group in the Kalagala district, however, wants to change that and has resorted to the use of drones. Let's take a look.
Juliet Namatovu is a busy fish trader on Chitobo Island in Kalangala district. But her business is often disrupted ever since she contracted HIV-AIDS 5 years ago.
The doctors try to come to us every month, but they usually don't come in time because of the leak. So we end up not getting the drugs on time.
It requires at least $30 to reach here by boat, which is expensive, thereby hindering movements for patients and medical workers. But a team of scientists at the Infectious Diseases Institute is preparing a cost-effective solution. The Ugandan Academy for Health Innovations and Impact team is preparing medical drones to help health workers beat geographical barriers and deliver HIV drugs to patients on the scattered islands.
One of those trips can even cost, over $100 to $200. The drone costs a lot to buy, but once it's established, it's battery operated. So once it's recharged, it should be able to do multiple flights.
Up to half of the HIV/AIDS patients here drop off their medication because most of them are mobile fishermen who follow fish trends. Yet these islands share only 14 health facilities and 8 doctors, which leaves Kalangala district with a 27% HIV-AIDS prevalence that is much higher than the rest of Uganda and Africa.
We have patients in the communities that have stigma. And sometimes when the health workers go to the community to give drugs, they end up running away. But with the drones project, a specific lead or patient lead who is identified by the patient themselves picks the drugs, and the patient goes to the home of that patient and picks at his or her convenient time.
Patients like Namatovu need medical attention at least thrice a month, but with the medical drones in place, they could get much more.
Now we go to Tanzania to meet a young man with a vision of preserving African languages. Isaya Yunge believes in what he calls African technology for Africans. He is the CEO and co-founder of Smartkaya and now joins us from Dar es Salaam. Good to have you with us, Isaya.
Thanks for having me, Jelly.
Isaya, I looked up your name and a lot of things popped up. What's your story?
I think for me, it's really come from, solving my own problems. In Tanzania, I wanted to have the best education back in the days. I see myself as a solution presenter. I want to provide these solutions across my family, across my country, and Africa in the whole. So that's the journey. The journey is, I'm at a center where there's problems, and I see myself as someone who can provide a solution.
Yeah, and let's talk about that smart speaker, Smartkaya. Some may argue that this is nothing new.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not new. I mean, see, every niche, every market has their own specific needs. We cannot have one fit for all. It doesn't work like that. Imagine a continent with 1.2, almost going to 1.6 billion people. We do not have a technology company that is built, focusing on the African people in the continent. And look at the natural language processing technology, whereby we have smart speakers that are speaking English with an accent, because the programmers, the engineers, maybe from Europe or US or China, they don't understand that in Africa, we have different dialect and accent when we speak English. So there's no speaker or natural language processing technology that's been built for Africans, whereby we could speak with these kind of technologies with our own English accent. And when we bridge that barrier, then the service part comes in. And so that's the idea, that we're trying to build technology that is cultured for the context of African young people, of African languages, of African continent. That's why there's none like that.
And just to make it very much relatable, look at me now. I speak Yoruba, I speak English, I speak some French. Say, for instance, if I spoke Yoruba to Smartkaya, will it understand?
Yes, that's the idea. So the idea is, if you speak Yoruba, it should be able to understand. If you speak Swahili, if you speak Dembe, if you speak Hausa, it should be able to understand. And in the beauty of this is that, every year, 600 people, other people, African, dies with African languages without being passed on to the next generation. So our biggest vision is to be able to preserve African dying languages, because in these languages you find, science, literature, a lot of great African history that cannot be bypassed because we don't have a means to preserve them. So I think the natural language processing technology allow us as young people to be able now to garner all the African languages and put them in a way that they will be here forever.
Absolutely. And you are about 31 now, but tell us what's next for you.
For me, what is next is really I'm focusing on solving Africa's challenges, and we're really are putting forward our work with Smartkaya to ensure that our work is noble. Our work is resonating with African homes every day. Our work is impactful in everyday lives of a young African person, of a young African entrepreneur, of a young African single mother, of a young African grandmother, of a young African grandfather who's living in a village in the remote areas. That is the biggest award that we can get for us. If you can see 1 million people are using Smartkaya, 1 million homes are having Smartkaya, that is the biggest award that I'm working on right now.
My very best wishes, and I hope that you achieve your aims and your dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, Jerry.
And that's where we draw the curtain on this episode of Inspire Africa. I'd like to thank you very much for watching the program. You can see it again by going to Africanews.com and Euronews.com. I am Jerry Isaya Bambi, and just before I go, I'll leave you with some of the images that caught our attention on social media. I'll see you again. Bye.
A woman getting vaccinated for COVID-19 in Sese Islands, Uganda. A boat ride on Jabi Lake in Abuja, Nigeria. And flying in the big colors of his native country, Nigeria, we find a picture of UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya.